Well, folks, here we are again. Day 2 at the ground Crest. My wife lovingly reviewed my first video after I posted it and let me know that it made her horribly motion sick and wondered if I had strapped my phone to a penguin and set it adrift. She loves me. So, for anyone who did end up needing motion sickness medicine the last time they watched one of these things, well, I apologize. That wasn't the intention. But I'm going to do it to you again, because at this junction, at least, my wife hasn't convinced me that I need to go spend $300 on a Steadicam rig to hook to myself while I walk through the cemetery. Yeah. We'll see how that turns out by next week. But oh, I don't know. I wasn't born to be a content creator, that's for certain. Arguably, wasn't born to take long walks around the cemetery either. I've been doing it for quite some time now, and yeah, it's still lots of fun. So let's see. Today is August 2nd, and what have I got for you? Hopefully, no more reeking mud balls. What did we get done today? Well, we went to see the bank. That's always good. Put our accounts a little bit better in order. We came down and marked out the site for our first official interment here on Thursday. Well, it should be right over there in that vicinity of Section B. We took some time to clear out the chapel. I'll show you that. It's our little progress for the day statement, right? I got a chance to push feedback to a couple of folks who messaged me here. It seems like there's a lot of interest in the decoration rules, how they'll be enforced, and that type of thing. So I'll probably make an effort to address what I'm thinking of doing with that here today. And we had another inquiry in regards to potentially a cremation interment today, which that's good, a little less complicated. But hopefully that's something that comes through. Let's see what else. Yeah, I think that's about all the news that's fit to chew, per se. Oh, had some conversations with Katara Heil, of course, who takes care of all of our openings and closings and the memorial side of things. He's about getting some things squared away for some of the memorials that have historically been not what they should be, whether they've been taken out for an interment and gets not set back. It sometimes happens, or other instances, though they're few and far between, where there's just situations that desperately require attention and there's no one left to make the call. I wasn't preparing for this or anything. Abracadabra, magic unlocking. No. Yeah, we're gonna have to rekey, retool. Oh, get a massive garage door opener. This thing is heavy anyway. So, as you can see, the chapel is actually fairly nice and cleaned out. It was very, very full of general leaves and ruckus and things of that nature. I did what I could with a straw broom. There's no electricity in here, of course. I left the window ajar so that it can air out a bit. This contraption, I'm sure you can tell what it's for. but it's for setting down the casket upon if you wanted to do some type of viewing a memorial in here. Weather permitting, especially in the winter, useful. But as you can see, our chapel is of an age, and the wildlife and etc. likes to be part of the equation in here. So it needs some love. I mean, as does the whole thing. Let's be fair. I'll pick on the chapel just because. But I thought I'd let you know we got it cleaned out today, within the bounds of reason. I'm not going to say anything's perfect. Lord knows I own a mirror. Perfection is a nice target, but makes a poor benchmark. So that's what we were up to today. Lots of fun social interactions. Got to talk to some people on my doorbell as I was out and about getting things squared away. The first couple of days, I have to admit, have been a little bit pardon me, a little bit hit and miss in regards to me actually physically being here in the first part of the day, which is that tree is chirping at me. Well, perhaps it's an interesting creature. I hope so. Either that or the tree is highly radioactive and I've just taken a lethal dose. But, I guess no place better to die than a cemetery, so no harm, no foul. See if we can see our dear friend. This evening. I'm coming about a bit earlier than typical, or I say the word typical as if I've come about more than one time to this point, which I have, but you've not been with me. It does not appear that we can see our dear friend today. She lives somewhere down in that copse of trees, I'm not entirely sure, which is probably good. I wouldn't want to intentionally flush her out for any reason, but yes, down there in that copse of trees. That reminds me of a very bad meaning, just pathetic pun, where some bushes and whatnot are engaged in general juvenile underage shenanigans, and they see a cluster of trees off in the distance, and one of them kind of looks at the cluster of trees and realizes what it is, and he looks at all the other bushes and says, "Run, it's the cops." C-O-P-S-E. C-O-P-S-E. Yes, cops. Cops. C-O-P-S-E. Look it up if you're horribly confused. Let me know if you've laughed, if you're not horribly confused. This is the type of punishment that my family gets all the time. Nah, never mind. Here I am trying to join you along on my solemn treks through the cemetery to reflect and correct, and I've turned it into comedy hour. Shame on me. Let's see here. There's that cluster down there. We have a stone that we might endeavor to move here this evening. I don't know. It's in need of some love. It's been broken, and it is my belief, I haven't checked yet, I believe everyone who is interested in that particular space has already been interred, which means there's no one to call. But, perhaps I'm wrong and there's someone. That's what I'm here for, to check the records and see, amongst other things, variously. Uh, let's go see Jesus. We're gonna have a come to Jesus moment. I guess now, as good a time as any to address the nature of cemeteries, burials, and what is referred to loosely in what I suppose is the industry, though I couldn't tell you for certain, the death care services industry. Historically, the religious aspect of what we do here is there's a poll out for you, Barbara. Someone asked about these polls and why they were there, and what purpose they were serving and whatnot. And so I've been trying to remove the ones I can. Typically speaking, they've marked traditional hazards where if you weren't careful, you could fall into a big old hole, or there's still a little bit of a divot there, but I have some confidence that I won't kill myself, leastways. Anyway, yes, there's a... Oh, seems I need to bring a broom up here and sweep. This is not a broom, and it is probably an insufficient... Yes. Wholly insufficient, honestly. Alright, well, now I know what I'm doing. But anyway, somehow or another, we've got like 1 million of these things behind the statue of Jesus. So I need to get those out of there, too. Ha! The list grows. Actually, the list just reiterates itself sometimes. But yes, I wanted to come over here to Jesus. Because again, this is one of those places I'll visit, especially on rainy days. I grew up Roman Catholic, and so the construct of having an altar here as part of the memorial is extremely nice to me. I don't know if Catholic services actually do anything with the altar, but when it rains, the sheen on the marble keeps the water at just the right level, and it's so nice. It's a reflective place. No. Seriously, I do. I come here to reflect. Far be it from me to tell you that water is reflective on a flat surface. Yes, but that's from whence it came. And to be fair, 1994, in remarkably good shape. So I appreciate the craftsmanship here. If you're not aware of this, there was some such thingamabob at one time behind it. I know not what it was or from whence it came. It may be part of the previous structure or some other thing. I don't know, honestly. But I appreciate the monument here. Although we will have to give it some love. The concrete does what concrete does as age takes it. But, it is what it is. There's lots of things, that can be fixed with skill and with resources and with, let's be fair here, a fair degree of teamwork. And those are things, I hope, as you walk with me, you take note of. I'm not a mason or a person that has even the beginning of a semblance of an idea of how to handle that type of thing, in all honesty. But someone out there, someone out there might be like, yes, I know exactly who can do this. Oh, yeah. And I appreciate those particular suggestions. You tell me, hey, have you tried asking so-and-so? You never know. That might be the thing, So, today was sunny. It did not rain. The grass is always growing. Grass It's driving me to neurosis. I see other people's grass. And you know, it grows too. And it gets high. And I get all twitchy. That's not even my grass. It's not my problem. But it's grass. It reminds me of this grass. Today was windy, though. Today was windy. And this vase was knocked over. And you know what? I put it up yesterday. And today, I'm putting it up again. Because, you know what? That's kind of the nature of the thing. It's interesting how many things are like that. Taking out the garbage, mowing the grass, setting things up that get knocked down all the time. You know what really prepared me for this was having children. Yeah, kids, right? They're always a joy. I think somewhere in the Bible it says that children are a crown of glory. I don't remember where, but I'm sure if you Google it, you'll find it. Now, I do know also, somewhere in the Bible, it says that gray hair is a crown of glory. I can't help think that there is a correlation there. I'm not saying a correlation begets causation, but I am saying if you have kids, you'll probably end up with gray hair. Let's see. Looks like we're in fairly good order down here. This is the thing that gets me. See how close the grass is right here in particular? I know when this was mowed. See these buckhorn? Oh, they pop up. They pop up the instant you cut them. There's just no winning. 3-inch blade height, get the grass nice and uniform. God bless whoever this is. This is your public shout out for being an awesome human being. They come in, they mow this little section, flatter than I can get it even, and then they disappear into the ether. I know not who you are, but you are appreciated. Because people taking care of things is what keep the world moving around. I hope to get to a place one day where it's not necessary for you to come out and expend your own resources to do this, but I also recognize the spirit that you have to come out and spend your own resources to get it the way it is, because it takes a certain type of person to go out of their way on their own expense and their own initiative to do something that is entirely expenditure. There's no profit incentive to keep taking care of little plots of land out here. Wow, look at all these flags in the breeze. I think you can see them. That's just lovely. Anyway, once in a while you get a nice view. Moral of the story. Yeah. There's a particular type of person. So, anyway, I recognize I'm down to my last minute here, and I must have been lopping significantly slower than before. I don't know if I'll make it to 20, but, what was the thing? Oh, yes, decorations rules. That's the thing I told you that I would give you some insight about before I cut you loose today. And so I will, because that's, the right thing to do. So as of this moment, the rules haven't materially changed. They haven't materially changed since, 1995. But that said, right now, from a manpower perspective, I just can't justify the time expenditure required to actually enforce them and police them and take all of the things down, and we have a space constraint, too. Eventually, our garage will overflow with all of the decorations that are technically out of compliance. And so, for the meantime, at least, we're not going to be actively policing this quite as much as previous management may have. But that said, that is not a open and clear invitation to bring a dump truck full of $5 dollar store knickknacks and paddywhacks and dump them directly on your marker. Right now, and I'll give you a good example. I know there's one coming up here that I can use as an excellent example. Basically, the idea is this. To the extent that you are capable, let's work together to keep whatever decorations you wish to place in the vase. If you have a vase, of course, that would be ideal, because the vase, being made of bronze, protects them from the incursions of lawnmowers and weed eaters. If you don't have a vase, excellent example. Not picking on anyone in particular, but an excellent example. So here we have a marker, and on that marker, a lovely arrangement of artificial flowers. In this marker we have a vase. Now, there's a possibility the vase is not going to fit in the hole or some such thing. Nope. Vase is good. Vase is solid. Now, if I come by here with a lawnmower, now I'm going to see this. I'm probably not going to run this over, right? It should be safe. God forbid. If it got under the deck, it would immediately turn into 9,000 pieces of multicolored confetti and be blasted off into the horizon. That's a lot of work to clean up, fellows. Ladies and gents, that's a pain. So just... there you go. Whoop, little spike came out. Oh. Tuck that down in there, no worries. In the vase. Now, you don't want to hit the vase. Not only won't it go under the deck, you'll bend the blade and everything to kingdom come. So that's great. Now, arguably, at this junction, artificial flowers, of course. Maybe you'd take the vase out, just put the flowers directly into the metal vase. That's cool too. That's ideal. The vase protects. Now let's say, for the sake of argument, that you don't have a vase. This here, no vase. It's kind of hard to tell who precisely these flowers went to. Well, I would say to protect them, we have a vase. But let's say we didn't have a vase. In this case, get them as close to the flag with a veteran as you possibly can. Because if they're... oh, that looks great. If they're by the flag, it gives me one space to mow around, one space to weed eat around, and I don't have to extend beyond the scope of reason. And what you'll find is, I'm going to kind of come down here and extrapolate this for you a little bit so you can understand what's going on. You'll get these places where you have flowers, and these are kind of getting to their prime, right? These, at some point, when I get to their prime, I'll have to remove them. So you see how I can't drive a mower between these two vases? They're very close together, and if I tried, I'd probably hit one of them. And that's a risk that I don't want to take. So what this creates is a weed eater pocket. It requires me to come back with a weed eater a little later on and get rid of these weeds, which, you know, of course, that's just the normal course of affairs. It needs to be done, and rest assured, we are in the process of getting the grass back into a semblance of order. Now let me talk about weed pockets. Weed pockets form where there's a lot of decorations grouped very closely together. This might be a small example of how that works. So we have a couple of these poles, which in sake of argument, I would say probably don't need to be here right now because the stone is not raised up enough with all the decorations to pose a hazard. But we'll take those out. But between the poles, the flags, the vase, which of course the vase is part of the headstone, so it's irrelevant, and our little hummingbird guy there, which is freaking beautiful, by the way. That's an excellent decoration. It's a type of decoration that I would feel horrible if got damaged. So it's why I avoid them with the lawnmower and the weed eater to the extent of my ability. But anyway, because there's so many different areas on this marker that have things of that nature, I can only reasonably run the mower maybe like through here, and it requires weed eating in and out and around of these decorations. Another excellent example over here where you got like a stone that's been set aside so that reseeding and releveling can occur. So the stone being a massive, object, don't hit that with the mower. So you get that type of area too, where it's just a pocket where you can't stick the mower, and so subsequently it needs a lot more attention with the weed eater. So as you go through the processes here of decorating, understand that we're not going to be like super anal retentive about what is and is not, allowed out here. At the end of the day, I mean, hey, you know what? They're your markers. They're your decorations. Just bear in mind that as we are working with you to maintain the relative beauty, and I say relative because it is, a work in progress constantly, the relative beauty of the cemetery, work with us too, from a decorations perspective especially, because we don't want to damage or destroy your decorations, if at all possible, of course, and so we're going to avoid them to the degree possible. That said, if you have it absolutely jam-packed, slammed to the wall, every decoration you could feasibly find, we are going to encounter the instance where we're just going to have to be a little less thorough with the TLC in your immediate area in order to not potentially risk damaging your decorations. That said, there are things that will come up where a decoration, you'll see, here is an example of a little piece of something or another hit by a mower. It's a shame, but when it gets turned into confetti, there's only so much you can do, and so we do have waste receptacles all across the yard so that people can, we'll say, inter the remains of their lovingly departed decorations. Oh, these are lovely right here. These types of baskets with the living plants in them. Very excellent. Just bear in mind, if it doesn't rain for 3 weeks, like we had that spell just last month, there's a chance that the plants will die within them, and I'm not going to discard your porcelain or, wooden or metal, like craftsman type planters. That would be silly and cruel. Now the plastic ones are the ones made out of compost that you got from a garden center. That's different, but I'm not going to be discarding planters and whatnot, so please endeavor to, as time permits, keep track of your living plants as available. We'll do our best out here, but as I reminded someone today, there are well over 6,000 markers out here. I don't know the precise number. I'm sure someone does. Jeremy probably does. Very good with numbers, that one. As such, the idea that a person, especially a single person with a weed eater, could reasonably go through, move the decorations off of over 6,000 markers, edge the stone out, and then put the same decoration back on the same stone unerringly. That type of time commitment borders on the edge of what we currently perceive to be eternity. So it's just, outside of the realm of possibility. With, maybe a small army, I don't want to go and make any Lord of the Rings moments, but Boromir is in my mind. Not with 1,000 men could you do this. It is folly. Yes, that's basically where we are. There's a threshold when it comes to how many hours per week of care it takes to keep this looking presentable. Above the upper threshold where the township becomes concerned again, right? We want to make sure that we are looking fairly crisp. That said, at present, there are only so many hours in every day with which we are blessed with lots of daylight. So, that is what it is. So just work with me with the decoration thing. Basically, you have the freedom to govern yourselves, and if you've lived in America for any length of time, oh my, you know what a delicate freedom that can be. I would really hate to have to be authoritarian in any regard. I think how we remember our loved ones is, one of the things that we should be able to do with a fair degree of creative liberty. There are, I'll admit, times where I find, beer bottles and whatnot in the cans, and I think to other cemeteries that have very strict no beverages rules and what have you. None this time. But I also recognize, especially in military capacities, that if you've served with someone, especially someone who passed away prematurely as a result of their service, it's not irrational to come out here and, have a cold one. It makes sense to some people, and I'm not going to go down the war path about a beer bottle, especially a beer bottle lovingly placed in a waste receptacle. Like, it's okay. And so, that's the type of thing where use, discretion and common sense. We do want to keep our decorations looking as appealing as the surrounding area, right? Which let's be fair, I'm not setting an enormously high bar for the surrounding area right now, am I? So, there it is. And obviously, keep things safe. We do have visitors that visit to visit. Joggers and, kids going from their house out here down to the road, and the occasional dog walker, what have you. And I love those folks. I remind people, this is a memorial park. It's not a playground, It's, there's no benches. Although maybe someday we could have benches. That would be nice. Sure help folks like me that break a sweat walking around the place. But, anyway, moral of the story, I suppose, is it is a place to visit. So, mind your sharp edges and, pointy bits and things of that nature. Don't leave any World War II era live hand grenades lying around as a memento. Yeah, but outside of that, just bear with me. I'll bear with you to the greatest extent possible. I'm not going to move anything because, quite frankly, I don't have the time or proclivity to do so. And then we do have a lot of decorations in the shed. I guess that's worth telling everyone. We're going to probably have some time here in the fairly near future, where all of that stuff's going to be moved up by the chapel area. So if you are missing anything and you're like, where is my specific item? And we don't know, and haven't like recorded it was specifically yours, which Jeremy was actually really on the ball about that. So try reaching out and making sure things get back to you as it's possible. But I'd like to get them out of the garage, because ideally, I don't want to have any more collections of arbitrary decorations lying about. That'd be great, if possible, you know. But that's it. That's it for now. Thank you for bearing with me. My gosh, the extra 15 whole flipping minutes it took me for some reason to talk about that and get down to the point, I suppose. But there it is, the second day of our long form content as we progressively make our little bitty baby steps of progress in our fight to bring back the Crown Crest Cemetery, or as I'm trying to encourage use of the hashtag, our fight for the crown. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will catch you, hopefully, the next time you want to subjugate yourself to one of these, which hopefully will be tomorrow.